Welcome back. It's another episode of Let 'em Ride. We're going to be going over the two-game slate for the WNBA action on Friday night. Talk about my analysis for each of those games. I'll let you know which way I'm leaning as far as the points and the spread. And any plays that I put in for these games will be listed down below in the pinned comment later on. So check back in to see if you would like to ride along, or if you think those picks are duds, maybe you want to fade me. Before we dive into tonight's games, though, we need to take a look back at the last 2 days and recap those nights. Wednesday night, we had a great night. The Mystics versus the Fever, first half under 82.5. We took that. It does cash. Storm team total over 82.5. Now that one was a sweat. Now, all right, we needed a 29-point fourth quarter just to get over that mark and land at 83. They only had 32 points at the half. Had this bet wrote off, but it cashed. We did have a no sweat bet from DraftKings that night. I put it on a parlay. I don't usually do parlays. This is probably the one time that I do them, is when I have a no sweat bet that I can throw on it. And I ended up with a plus 144 Fever money line. Took the alternate total for the Dream and the Lynx, moved that up to 173.5. Took the under on that, and then moved the Lynx point spread down to 4.5. Took that. That 3-leg parlay cashed. And then we move on to Thursday night. We have the Dallas Wings. Actually, this was a noon game on Thursday. The Dallas Wings versus the Sky took the under 161. It cashes as well. And then Thursday evening, we had the Liberty first quarter team total over 23.5. Now, this pick, out of all the picks, I was the most confident in. It does not cash. All right, so we are 11-7 now overall for the season. We are up just over 3.5 units. So let's keep stacking those units, guys. Let's get into these picks tonight and get a little bit more bread. Our first game, we have the Indiana Fever taking on the Atlanta Dream. The Dream opened up as 2-point favorites in this one, has since swung in the direction of the Fever, who are now laying 3. The over-under is sitting at 162.5 in this one. After starting the season 4-2, the Dream are since 2-5 of 2, the number and straight up. They're only 5-8 against the spread on the year, and they're 6-7 overall. Now, Atlanta's offense has struggled in their last 5 games. They're ranking second to last in offensive rating in that span, but they are 5th in defensive rating over that time. The Dream will be without Ryan Howard, though, in this one. She's out with an ankle injury. It looks to be a sprain. She stepped on the foot of Minnesota's Courtney Williams in their last game. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, see how long she's out. That's definitely not going to help the Dream at all, not do them any favors in this one. The Fever are 6-10 straight up. They're at 8-8 to the number, but they have now won 4 of their last 5, and they've covered and won outright in 3 straight. They are 9th in defensive rating over their last 5 games. That's a solid improvement from the last place that they had been on the year to that point. They are also 1st in offensive rating over that time span. The Fever offense, it's been on fire over this time. It's ranking 2nd in effective field goal and true shooting percentage, and then also shooting 47% from the field. They're shooting 39% from deep. Both of those are good for 2nd in the W. Clark, she had an off game in the previous meeting between these two. She shot 3 of 11 and then 1 of 6 from deep. The Fever still won by 7. She since followed that game up with a 23-8-9 performance and then an 18-12-6. And those were 2 more Fever wins. So after starting the season 1-8, the Fever are since 5-2. I like them to keep this current win streak alive here and pick up this road win over the Dream. For the total, I'm leaning over. These 2 teams, they went well over that total in their first meeting a little over a week ago. And then the Fever are 12-4 to the over on the year. And then these 2 teams head-to-head, they're 7-3 to the over their last 10 games. And for our other game, we had the Connecticut Sun taking on the Las Vegas Aces. Aces are laying 6 in this one, with their under sitting at 162.5. All right, so I said I was fading the Aces until they showed me they were worth backing with my hard-earned money. And what do? They come out and stomp a good Seattle squad, right? They led by 13 after the first quarter. They win by 11. Shooting 56% from the field, 40% from deep. And we've been saying on and on and on how they were struggling without Chelsea Gray, and man, did they ever feel her impact. Despite just 1 point on 0 of 2 shooting, a boost in energy was felt, in my opinion, from the time that the team, before she even checked in the game. As soon as they stepped foot in the building and they knew that she was suiting up to play, the energy felt different for this Aces team in this game. And then the home crowd, as soon as she checked in, erupted, right? The vibe, the energy, it was all positive. It was all good for Vegas. She dished out 7 assists, and she showed how valuable she is to this team and how much her return will help catapult Vegas back up to the upper echelon of the W. They call it the point guy for a reason, right? Now, their next matchup, however, comes against a Connecticut Sun team that so far this year, they have a strong case for being the top team in the league. And there's no argument that they're the best defensively. Although I guess Minnesota could be considered a close second. But opponents only average 70 points per game against the Sun team. They're giving up the fewest fast break points in the W. They give up the second fewest second chance points. So while the Aces did show me something in that victory over the Storm, and while the Storm do have a good defense, it's not the Sun defense. And I'm not comfortable backing Vegas to win this by 3 possessions over this Sun team. This Vegas team didn't cure all of its defensive issues overnight just with the return of Gray. As you know, Seattle, they struggled as of late offensively. They're third to last in field goal percentage, last in 3-point percentage over their last 5 games, but they still put up 83 points on a decent 44% shooting. So I'm leaning Connecticut in this one to keep this one close. I'm leaning over as well. While the Sun boasts the best defense in the league, the Aces have one of the top offenses. They got tons of offensive firepower, and they look to be much more in sync with Gray out there running the point. Um, the Aces have scored 82 or more in their last 5. They've eclipsed the 90-point mark twice in that span. They've hit the 100-point mark once in that span. The Sun have averaged 82 points per game in their last 5. So while the Sun like to play slow, they are the slowest team in the W as far as pace. The Aces are the fastest. They're first in pace, and I think they'll control the tempo at home. They'll look to push the pace and make Connecticut play more to their style. So I like these two I like them getting just up over this number. I'm leaning in. I'm not sure if that's going to make its way into my final plays yet or not. All right, that's just about going to wrap us up here for another episode of Let 'Em Ride. Thanks for tuning into the video today. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. And if you found it helpful or useful in any way, please don't forget to hit that like button down below. And subscribe if you can, if you haven't already. That way you don't miss out on any of the daily content that we're putting out. And hit share if you don't mind. It's all greatly appreciated. And don't forget to check down below in that pinned comment later so you can see whatever plays that I'm rolling with for these games here. And you can choose if you'd like to ride along with me, or maybe you think my picks are duds and you would like to do the contrary. But whatever you choose to do in these, make sure that you throw those down in the comments because I want to see where your guys' heads are at and what you've cooked up for these games as well. Best of luck. Bet responsibly. Hope everybody has a great night and gets a little bit of cash. I'll see y'all on the next one.